While some proponents of genetic enhancement techniques say that they can help families reduce inherited genetic defects or improve their child's physical or cognitive abilities, others are concerned about the potential consequences of such therapies. As a result, it might, for example, lead to a shift toward a eugenic society in which some traits or virtues are valued over others by marginalizing or stigmatizing specific groups for failing to satisfy societal norms. This may increase existing inequities and discrimination. These genetics modifications address basic concerns such as the boundaries of technology, human dignity, the nature of humanity, and meaning of life, etc. It prompts us to reflect on these values, beliefs, and principles to define our perception of what is to be human. We would like to listen to the points of view of every member of this debate.
We must start with the fact that genetic modifications is a relatively new technology and its long term effects on human health are not fully understood. There is a risk that genetic modifications could have unintended consequences, leading to health problems or unexpected results that could affect future generations. One of the moral consequences is that the genetic modification disrespect the dignity and autonomy of human beings. The use of these new technologies based on the modification of children may be something that directly affects their right to self-determination and free. Immanuel Kant talks about human dignity and autonomy. He strongly believed that employees already had an instinct value and they should treat with respect, leaving aside the circumstance under which they were found. He believed that people were free to make their own decisions as well as pursue their goals, taking into account that these decisions or goals did not harm others and did not violate ethical principles. Every man is to be respected as an absolute end in himself, and it is a crime against the dignity that belongs to him as a human being. To use him as mere means for some external purpose. Immanuel Kant.
Well, to start with my points, I want to say that I agree that the idea of genetic modifications could sound a little bit extreme, but not all the people has an entire idea and all the stuff that is behind these words. And the genetic modifications is not only this extreme change in humans, it is not only the fact of changing the way of working in a human system. It is a way of evolving in human beings, and it is also the fact that in some years we won't need all the medicine, all the expensive process that we need for the illness, for surgeries, for rehabilitation, and even for our daily life. Think about all the vitamins and all the preventive drugs that we consume daily. We don't know exactly the time in which these modifications will make a significant change in our society, but we do know that this is a step that we must take to see a positive change in our society. And there's a phrase that I really like. It was said by Pete Singer, and it goes something like this: and the prevention of suffering and the promotion of well-being should be the guiding principles of any ethical system. If genetic engineering can help us achieve these goals, then we should embrace it. And I think that this phrase resumes my entire point. If we have the options to stop suffering in every way possible, I think we should take the opportunity, not only for our health, also for our next generations that unfortunately are affected by our illness. And in my opinion, this will be the most ethical option to prevent health issues in our society.
these modifications can lead to discrimination and social inequality by selecting and giving unfair advantages to the babies or kids that would be genetically modified for reasons related to economic resources, since obviously only a small percentage of the population could access to this privilege. Also, because this modification could improve some of the capacities or abilities of the humans, such as intelligence, health, appearance, and more. This could lead to one part of the population having an advantage over another part of the population. It also argues that the possible modifications could limit the child's ability to develop their identity because they are born with predetermined traits that may not coincide with their natural inclinations and preferences. And it is also believed that society would be more inclined towards stereotypes, which would have the side effect of strengthening the problem of identity creation. Finally, children cannot give informed consent to genetic modifications as they are not old enough to understand the risks and implications. This raises ethical questions about the right of parents to make decisions on behalf of their children that could have long-term consequences.
We should understand that genetic modifications may be applied in ways that are compatible with other essential moral principles, leading to a more thriving and satisfied human existence. Genetic modifications could enhance the health of humans' cognitive abilities such as intelligence or memory. Another advantage of these genetic modifications is that we could not only enforce health, lifespan, but also our appearance. To finish, I would like to add that also an advantage of these genetic modifications would be that they may benefit human evolution by allowing humans to adapt and evolve in response to changing environmental and cultural influences. Such as Pete Singer once said, we should not be afraid of our newfound powers of genetic engineering to improve human condition, but we must be careful to ensure that we use these powers in a way that is consistent with our most fundamental moral principles. I think that these modifications should be permitted to employ genetic alteration to better their own lives, and society should encourage the use of genetic modifications to prevent and treat hereditary disorders, and as long as it does not lead to discrimination or harm to others.
Well, in conclusion, the use of genetic improvement techniques involves a lot of ethical, legal, and social concerns. One of the main concerns is the potential for this technology to make the existing social inequalities worse because it will probably only be accessible to those who can afford it. That will be a small part of the population. Genetic improvements techniques could potentially help prevent diseases and improve the health and well-being of future generations. But it also goes in hand with issues around consent and autonomy. We want to make clear that any decision regarding the extent of freedom families should have in modifying their children's genetics should be based on a very careful considerations of the potential benefits and risks, as well as the ethical, social, and legal considerations. Finally, for these three main reasons mentioned above, we believe that although it could bring certain benefits in terms of technological advances and possible health preventions, it could be counterproductive since it can generate social inequality, also discrimination, lack of informed consent, and the ethical implications such as who will decide which are the desirable genetic characteristics, among others. Thank you.